Hello students, welcome to today's video lesson. Before we begin today's discussion, let me ask, how many of you here are artists? How many of you are painters or appreciate painting or sketches? Art is a natural language of expressing oneself and is a universal form of communication. Thomas Merton once said that art enables us to find ourselves and lose ourselves at the same time. Today, we shall discuss an extract from an article by Nathalie Troyer titled Landscape of the Soul, Ethics and Spirituality in Chinese Painting. Nathalie Troyer is an art historian who translated the work City of Jinns, a book by William Dalrymple. Now let me give brief introduction about this chapter. In this chapter, the writer Nathalie Troyer contrasts the European Western form of landscape painting with the Asian Eastern form of art. He says that the landscape of a European artist makes a figurative painting. It's a figurative representation of art. It gives an illusionistic likeness of reality. But the landscape of an Asian artist is an essence of inner life and spirit. It is not a landscape of outward images, it is a landscape of the soul. In order to illustrate this difference, the writer gives two anecdotes. Anecdotes means a short, interesting, or amusing story. One related to European painter and the other related to an Asian painter. Now, I will give line by line explanation. A wonderful old tale is told about the painter Wu Daozi lived in the 8th century. So, once a painter named Wu Daozi lived in China in the 8th century. A wonderful old tale, tale means story. So, the writer has given the anecdote. So, it is a story, old story. It's a wonderful story told about the painter Wu Daozi. Wu Daozi was a Chinese painter and Wu Daozi lived in the 8th century. His last painting was a landscape commissioned by the Tang Emperor Xuanzong to decorate a palace wall. So Wu Daozi was a Chinese painter and his last painting was a landscape. Landscape means the painting of natural scenery, mountain, river, forest. Commission means Wu Daozi was authored and sponsored by the Tang Emperor, Chinese Tang Emperor Xuanzong. The Chinese Tang Emperor Xuanzong wanted Lu Zhaozi to decorate a wall of his palace with his beautiful painting. The master had hidden his work behind a screen, so only the emperor would see it. So the Tang Emperor asked Wu Daozi to do this job, the job of painting on his palace wall. The great painter Wu Daozi did the job, but he kept the painting hidden behind a screen so that none but only the emperor could see it. For a while, the emperor admired the wonderful scene, discovering forest, high mountains, waterfalls, clouds floating in an immense sky, men on hilly paths, birds in flights. So, when the Chinese painter Wu Daozi, when he painted the landscape on the palace wall to decorate, for a long while. When the emperor, when he looked at the painting for a long while, for a long time, the emperor, he was so impressed by the painting that the emperor was filled with wonder. He kept looking it for a long time, and he was so impressed by the painting painted by Woodhouse that he kept on looking at the landscape and started admiring the wonderful scene painted by the artist Woodhouse. He admired the wonderful scene, discovering forest, high mountains, waterfalls, clouds floating in an immense, huge sky, men walking on hilly paths, flying birds. So lovely forest, mountain, waterfall, birds in flight, and the silly clouds in the sky. Look, sir, said the painter, in this cave at the foot of the mountain dwells a spirit. So, drawing the attention of the king, the painter Woodhouse, he addressed the king Xuanzong as sir to give him respect. So, the painter Woodhouse told the king, the emperor Xuanzong, that at the foot of the mountain dwells, lives, resides a spirit, a soul. So he told the king that in this cave at the foot of the mountain dwells a spirit. Actually, it was the imagination of the painter. So only the eye of painter could see the inner beauty of the painting. So he just wanted to guide the king by saying that in this cave at the foot of the mountain is a spirit. Actually, there was no spirit, there was no ghost, but he just wanted to make the king imagine that there lives a spirit. The painter clapped his hands and the entrance to the cave opened. So Woodhouse, he clapped his hands and the entrance to the cave opened, which he has painted. The inside is splendid, beyond anything words can convey. So the painter Woodhouse, he drawing the attention of the emperor Xuanzong, he told the king that the inside of the cave is very splendid, glorious, and it was beyond anybody's imagination, anything words can convey. There are no words to express the beauty of the painting painted by Woodhouse. Please let me show your majesty the way. So only the eye of painter could see the inner beauty of the painting. The king, the emperor Xuanzong, he might have ruled the territory. He had power, but Xuanzong didn't have that vision, insight to see the inner beauty of the painting. That's why the painter Woodhouse, he told the king that let him show him the way, the path to the beauty of the painting. The painter entered the cave, but the entrance closed behind him. And before the astonished emperor could move or utter a word, the painting had vanished from the wall. So Woodhouse, he wanted to show the path, the method, the inner beauty of the painting, the landscape of the soul. And as soon as the painter Woodhouse entered the cave, the entrance closed behind him, because only he could see the inner beauty. He had the eye to see the beauty, the art. And before the astonished, means surprised, amazed emperor could move or utter a word, utter means speak a word, the painting had vanished. Vanished means disappeared from the wall. So the emperor was very amazed when he found that painting had disappeared from the wall. Not a trace of Woodhouse's brush was left, and the artist was never seen again in this world. So the emperor Xuanzong was surprised when he found that the painting and the painter both disappeared. Not a trace of Woodhouse's brush was left, and the artist was never seen again in this world. Such stories played an important part in China's classical education. So, this is not the only story. There are so many stories, so many anecdotes which played an important part in China's classical education. So, the book of Confucius and Zhuangzi are full of them. So these are the stories, like the stories of Xuanzong and Woodhouse. There are so many stories in China which played an important part in China's classical education. There are a number of books of Confucius and Zhuangzi which describe, which played an important part in China's classical education. They help the master to guide his disciple in the right direction. So such stories, such anecdotes helped the master, the teacher, to guide his disciple, students in the right direction. Beyond the anecdote, they are deeply revealing the spirit in which art was considered. So anecdote means a short, interesting or amusing story. So beyond the anecdote, these are not only the stories or anecdote, they are deeply revealing the spirit. Spirit means attitude in which the art was considered. Contrast this story, another famous one about a painter who wouldn't draw the eye of a dragon he had painted for fear it would fly out of the painting, with an old story from my native Flanders that I find most representative of Western painting. So Nathalie Trevorrow, she came with another story. So there was another story about a painter who refrained from drawing the eye of a dragon because the painter, he was afraid, he was scared, he had a fear that if he drew the eye of the dragon, then the dragon would fly out of the painting. So the writer in 15th century Antwerp, a master blacksmith called Quinton Matsys fell in love with a painter's daughter. So there is another story about a master blacksmith. In 15th century Antwerp means Belgium, a master blacksmith, master means very skilled blacksmith, called Quinton Matsys. He fell in love with a painter's daughter. The father would not accept a son-in-law in such a profession, but the father of the painter's daughter, he refused to marry his daughter with a blacksmith because it was a low profession. So the father would not accept a blacksmith as a son-in-law. So Quinton sneaked into the painter's studio and painted a fly on his latest panel. So to win the confidence, to win the trust of the painter, Quinton sneak here means went in to his studio secretly. Sneak means to go somewhere secretly into the painter studio, and the blacksmith painted a fly on his latest panel. Panel means painting with such a delicate realism that the master tried to sweat it away before he realized what had happened. So the master blacksmith, he painted a fly on his latest painting with such a delicate realism. Delicate realism means he careful treatment producing lifelike object. So he drew the fly which looked like real. He drew the fly so delicately it looks real that the master tried to sweat it away. Sweat it away means here he tried to move it, okay, hit using his hand. He tried to hit the fly. He thought that the fly was a real one, so he tried to hit the fly using his hand. So that master tried to sweat it away before he realized what had happened. Quinton was immediately admitted as an apprentice into his studio. So the painter who didn't want to marry his daughter with a blacksmith, when he found that how the blacksmith, he drew the fly which looked like real with delicate realism, he was impressed by his skill of painting. So Quinton was immediately, he was admitted as an apprentice. Apprentice means as a learner, novice learner, into his studio. Not only he admitted him as an apprentice, but also he married his beloved, his daughter. He married his beloved daughter with a master blacksmith and went on to become one of the most painter of his age. So the blacksmith, master blacksmith, he married the painter's daughter, beloved daughter, and went on to become one of the most famous painters of his age. It is due to the realistic touch which he had given to the fly. So these two stories illustrate what each form of art is trying to achieve. So the story of Matisse is an example of realism in the arts. Realism in painting is the attempt to present subject matter truthfully as it is in originality without avoiding any elements. It is also called naturalism. So these two contrasting stories, the stories about the Woodhouse's painting of landscape and the stories of Matisse. So these two contrasting stories are used to highlight the difference between the objectives and approaches of Chinese and European painting. European paintings are traditionally more figurative and realistic, as we have seen how Matisse, he drew the fly giving realistic approach. It looked like real, while Chinese arts are more abstract. So as I told you that most of the Chinese anecdotes, Chinese stories were used by masters to explain the concept and meaning of art and to make abstract ideas comprehensible to their student. So these two stories illustrate, these stories are the example of what each form of art is trying to achieve. On one hand, the European painting aims to give a figurative and realistic approach to the painting, while the Chinese arts are more abstract. So they're trying to achieve a perfect illusionistic likeness in Europe. So we find in European painting the illusionistic likeness, false idea about likeness. So we get the illusion of likeness, reality. In Europe, the essence of inner life and spirit in Asia, while in Asian art, we find the essence of inner life and spirit. So Chinese paintings are abstract since they can't be explained or defined in real terms. One has to feel or experience the artistic point of view. In the words of Georgi Korisky, the principle of true art is not to portray but to evoke. So here the two approaches, the approaches of European painting and the approaches of Chinese art are totally different. The European painting aims for the illusionistic likeness, figurative representation of reality, while the Chinese art aims at the essence of inner life, inner soul, landscape of the soul, and the spirit in Asia. So in the Chinese story, the emperor commissions ordered a painting and appreciates its outer appearance. So in the story of Wu Daozi's landscape of the soul, the emperor Xuanzong he authorized and sponsored Wu Daozi to draw on a palace wall the painting landscape of the soul, and he appreciates its outer appearance because Xuanzong was a king. He didn't have that insight of a painter, so he only appreciates the outer appearance. But the path, the true meaning of the painting, the true meaning of art is only known by the Wu Daozi. So here in Chinese art, the outer beauty doesn't matter. It is the inner beauty which matters in the Chinese art. But the artist revealed to him the true meaning of his work. The artist Wu Daozi, he reveals to Xuanzong the true meaning of his art, landscape of the soul. The emperor may rule over the territory he has conquered, but only the artist knows the way within. So the emperor here, Xuanzong, he may rule over the territory which he has conquered, which he has won by his power. But the emperor, he didn't have that insight to see the inner beauty in the landscape of the soul, in the painting. The artist Wu Daozi, he only knows the way within, and that's why Wu Daozi, he clapped his hands and the entrance of the cave opened. But as soon as he entered the cave, the entrance closed. And before the king realized what he was looking at, he was amazed to see that the painting and the painter both vanished, disappeared. Actually, it was the painter's skill. So only the painters know the way within the art. The king didn't know the way or method. So that's why he didn't see the real meaning of art. And that's why Wu Daozi told the king that let me show you the way. So he wanted the king to see the inner beauty of the painting. That's why he asked him to show him the way. The Dao, a word that means both the path or the method. So Dao means a word which means the path or the method to see the inner beauty and the mysterious work of the universe. The painting is gone, but the artist has reached his goal beyond any material appearance. So the painting of Wu Daozi disappeared along with the painter, but the artist Wu Daozi has reached his goal, the goal of showing the path or the way, the Taoistic method. He has reached his goal to see the inner beauty of the painting, which was beyond any material appearance. A classical Chinese landscape is not meant to reproduce an actual view. A Chinese classical landscape is not meant to reproduce an actual view as would a Western figurative painting. So, as I said, that a classical Chinese landscape in Asian art, the Asian art is not meant to reproduce an actual view as would a Western figurative painting. Chinese art aims at abstract, aims at essence of inner life, inner soul. It doesn't mean to reproduce a figurative painting, illustrating likeness, as would a Western figurative painting. While the Western painting, European painting aims at illusionistic likeness, figurative painting, it aims at figurative representation of reality. So, whereas the European painter wants you to borrow his eyes and look at a particular landscape exactly as he saw it from a specific angle. The Chinese painter doesn't choose a single viewpoint. So the writer here talks about the difference between European painting and the Chinese art. So in Europe, the European painter wants the viewer to borrow his eyes and look at the particular painting or particular landscape exactly as he saw it without having their own point of view. They want the viewer to have the same specific angle, same view. But the Chinese painter, on the contrary, they do not choose a single viewpoint. His landscape is not a real one. The Chinese art, the Chinese landscape is not a real one. You find the absence of figurative painting in Chinese art. You find absence of likeness, illusionistic likeness. So it's not a real one, and you can enter it from any point. Means in Chinese art, in Chinese landscape, you can enter it from any point. You should have a different point of view. It has different specific angle. So you can travel, then travel in it. The artist creates a path for your eyes to travel up and down. So instead of painting figuratively, the Chinese artist creates a path or method, which means Tao, for your eyes to travel up and down and then back again. So viewer have different specific angle, different viewpoint in a leisurely moment. This is even more true in the case of horizontal scroll, in which the action of slowly opening one section of the painting, then rolling it up to move on the other, adds a dimension of time which is unknown in any other form of painting. Here, the writer has given the example that if you want to understand the Chinese art, then you should see the horizontal scroll. So in horizontal scroll, the action of slowly opening one section of the painting, then we roll it up to move on to the other, which adds a dimension of time which is unknown in any other form of painting, which is absence in the European painting. It also requires the active participation of the viewer. So as I said that in Chinese painting, in Chinese art, so Chinese paintings are abstract since they can't be explained or defined in real term, and that's why the viewer has to feel or experience the artist's point of view, and that's why his participation physically and mentally is must. If we want to know the Chinese art, then we have to actively participate physically and mentally. So it also requires the active participation of the viewer, who decides at what place, at what pace he will travel through a painting. A participation which is physical as well as mental. So to understand the Chinese art, the participant has to be active physically and mentally, and to decide at what pace he will travel through the painting, the viewer. The Chinese painter doesn't want you to borrow his eye, he wants you to enter his mind. So unlike the European painter who wants viewer to borrow his eyes, who have a specific angle, who have only single viewpoint, the Chinese painter doesn't want viewer to borrow his eye. They want the viewer to see with different angle, with different viewpoint. So the Chinese painter wants the viewer to enter his mind. He doesn't want the viewer to see the painting with only one specific angle. The landscape is an inner one, a spiritual and conceptual space. The landscape drawn by Daozi is an inner soul. It is the landscape of the soul. We find the essence of spirit, essence of soul, a spiritual and conceptual. So his painting, the painting of Daozi, is the perfect example of a spiritual and conceptual space. Conceptual means space based on ideas. So I hope you have understand the first part. The remaining part I will explain in the next video.